get started with today. Today we're going to be talking more into how your body is not broken and breaking down women's hormone health, and really getting into the space of addressing how we have been misled with our misled about our biology rather, and our energetics, and how we're scattered and we're hormonally jacked by the habits that we have. So many of us believe the fact that when we are dealing with as soon as I start talking, she wants to come over here. We're dealing with the issue of bloating, energy crashes. We're dealing with cycle issues, PMSing, dealing with bloating, dealing with painful menstrual cycles or irregular menstrual cycles. And so then we're sitting here believing that there's something wrong with our body. And so then when you believe there's something wrong with your body, now you do a momentary band-aid hoping that it fixes it, right? But in reality, it's not you. It's the system that you're surviving in. It's the system that you have believed in for so many years, because this is what you've been taught to sit here and manage with prescriptions, manage with the surgery, sit here and do momentary band-aids to make it to the next day so that you feel better for tomorrow, so that you can go to work, so you can take care of your kids, right? But you're eating clean, you're working out, you're journaling, you're meditating, you're supplementing, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And why do you still feel like you're at war with your body? Why does everything still feel like a struggle, like a disconnect? And the reason why is because your body doesn't feel safe. Your body has not felt safe because you have not shown your body the trust that it's looking for. You sit here and you say that you're going to change and that you need to lose weight, that you need to do better for your hormones, you need to do better for yourself, right? But when you're sitting here doing the workouts and you're calorie counting and you're restricting and you're following diet culture, you're journaling, you're doing the meditations, you're doing the supplements, maybe you had the surgery and it's not working, this makes your body go into disconnect with you, because now you're sitting here saying, I'm doing this, I'm trying this, and it's not working, and now you can't trust your own actions. And it's crazy because we are in a society full of diet culture that does not work. We do Jenny Craig, we do Weight Watchers, we do keto, we do paleo, we do all of these different things, Whole30, and we try them out. We do it for so long, and then we go back to our old habits and we gain all the weight back, we feel worse, we look worse, or we gain more weight. And so then now we're going back and forth and we're trying to figure out why in the world is this not working. Maybe I don't have enough structure. Maybe I don't have enough willpower. You're thinking that you're being lazy, right? But in reality, the willpower is not the problem. The problem is that you're not listening to the signals from your body, and you're not getting those signs and awareness of those signs to how to treat the root cause of your problem. Instead, you're sitting here dealing with the issue of trying to manage with band-aids that are never going to help you, because they are the literal systematic oppression that has made you sick. It's literally the signal from your body. PMS is a signal, brain fog is a signal, anxiety, fatigue, weight resistance, weight gain, and etc. All of these are feedback from your system to let you know you're overstimulated, you're undernourished, and you're misaligned with your body's actual natural rhythm. And since you're not aligned with your natural rhythm, yes, your cycle is going to feel like a punishment. Yes, you're going to be uncomfortable every day, having no energy, depending on coffee, trying to figure out why you slept 12 hours, but you still woke up with no energy. Trying to figure out how you haven't eaten anything all day, yet you're bloated. Trying to figure out why you're all of a sudden having panic attacks, or you're anxious, or you're going through depression episodes when you were perfectly fine yesterday. Because a lot of y'all aren't stemming, or you're not realizing the fact that this is stemming from your gut being imbalanced. You're not taking care of your kidneys, not taking care of your pancreas, not supporting the liver and detoxing. And then all of this is putting strain on your heart. It's putting strain on your brain. And your brain cannot function to do everything that it needs to do when your gut is off, because your gut and your brain are directly connected. And so when you're throwing off your gut, which is also throwing off your brain, this is going to throw off all of your hormonal system. Your adrenal glands are not going to produce the correct hormones, or at least produce them in the correct space, in the correct way. So it's going to overproduce progesterone, estrogen. And then your liver is not detoxifying correctly. And your liver is the place where you detoxify the excess estrogen that you do not need. And so when your lymphatic system is blocked because you use deodorant, you wear bras every single day and they're tight, this is going to block your liver detoxification. This is going to hurt your detoxification for your excess estrogen. So then now you're getting blocks of estrogen. And if you don't know what blocks of estrogen happen, when blocks happen with estrogen in your lymphatic system, to be specific, in your lymph nodes, so thyroid area, breast area, armpit area, you develop cancer. In your reproductive area, you develop fibroids, you develop cysts, or you develop some type of cancer. This is what is happening inside of your body when you are not aligned. When you are not aligned with your natural rhythm and you don't understand what the signs and the symptoms are. You don't understand how these signals from your body are awareness to let you know that the feedback is I'm overstimulated, I'm undernourished, and I'm not being supported the way that I want you to support me. Because society has trained you in the space of what they want for your body. But you're not listening to what your body wants from you. There's a difference between what society has trained you to do and what they make you believe is the correct way to take care of your body. Not syncing with your cycle, pushing through the pain, taking a pain medication because you're PMSing and you're struggling and you're hurting and you're cramping, right? But that's not what your body wants. Your body wants you to sit back and say, why in the world do I feel overly inflamed? Oh, I know, it's because I eat a whole bunch of inflammatory foods. This PMSing is stemming from the fact that I have not given myself all the nourishment that I need during this phase of my cycle. Oh, my anxiety and fatigue is coming from the fact that I've eaten too many processed snacks and not enough nutrients in my food. These are little signs and symptoms for you to make changes, but you haven't changed anything. All you keep doing is doing momentary band-aids and managing, which is keeping the disease alive. When you are doing momentary band-aids, all you're doing is feeding the disease and keeping it alive because you're maintaining it. Think of anything that you maintain. Nails, hair, car. If you work out at the gym, you're maintaining your body. You're maintaining your nail set. You're maintaining your hair. You're maintaining your car. That's keeping it alive. That's keeping it going. So why do you keep the disease alive in your body by doing maintenance that is not fixing the problem, but it's just keeping you going for the next day? Instead of you fixing the problem by healing, you're maintaining it. There's a complete difference in doing this momentary band-aid of, oh, I know I need maintenance on my car, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap duct tape around this pipe, knowing dang well the duct tape ain't going to do enough, but it'll make you to the next destination for tomorrow. That's what you're doing. Your body is literally giving you signs to let you know there is a block. There's a leak here, there's a block here, your gut is leaking, you have a block with your estrogen, you're having issues with hormonal imbalance in general, and guess what? Now you're sitting here going, well, I'm going to put a momentary band-aid on top of it, so I'm going to go take this supplement and I'm going to do a gut detox really quickly. This is going to fix everything. And then you do your gut detox, you take your supplement for 30 days to 60 days, and you're feeling good, you've maybe lost a couple pounds, and now you're telling everybody, oh, I did this, everybody's complimenting you, right? And then you go back and forth, doing that. And then you do that for a couple of months, and then you flop back to your old habits, which your body knew you were going to do that. So subconsciously, your body was just waiting for that. Thank you for the follows in the comments. I really appreciate y'all. And so then, after you going back and forth, doing these momentary band-aids of some type of like diet culture, supplemental culture, now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out why you feel worse. And then you go a couple of years and you're like, okay, well, I've done this diet, I've tried these supplements, I've done this detox, and now all of a sudden now you have IBS. And you're sitting here trying to figure out how in the world did I develop IBS? And so now you're taking this supplement now, you're on top of this medication to help you go to the bathroom and regulate your gut. And then they're telling you that you need to eat this special kind of meat-based, dairy-based diet, and you should be fine as long as you avoid gluten, right? Because gluten does put holes in your stomach. So they are right about that. You should be avoiding gluten now that you have IBS. But they're not telling you that you cannot heal IBS consuming dairy. You cannot heal your IBS sitting there consuming these meats that are making you put more parasites in your body. And so they're not telling you these things. So then you go along your life thinking that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Your IBS has settled, right? And then you turn around and now all of a sudden you have some gut related issue, and it has now caused your liver to overload with toxins, which has now caused you to be estrogen dominant. So now all of a sudden, boom, you have estrogen dominance, and oh, it looks like you might have endometriosis and possible fibroids. So now they're telling you to take birth control so you can avoid having surgery. So now you're taking birth control for a year and you're like, this is going to help me be able to get rid of all the problems that I'm having with my estrogen dominance. But then now it's throwing off your body's natural rhythm. So now not only are you having estrogen dominance that was undealt with because you try to manage it with a prescription, now you might even start having issues with your progesterone, whether it's too high or too low. And then now on top of that, you're still putting more toxins for your liver to try to detoxify. So it's still not helping with the estrogen. And then on top of that, now that you're taking birth control, it's causing more issues with your reproductive system, which is going to cause more toxins, which aka putting strain on your liver. And then when you're putting all this strain on your liver and you're already in an estrogen dominant state 24/7, this is going to put strain on your kidneys because it's trying to filter your blood and keep you alive. The strain on your kidneys is going to put strain on your heart. Now all of a sudden you develop high blood pressure. You're sitting here dealing with high blood pressure issues, and let's not even talk about the sugar that you're probably eating, because majority of society is addicted to sugar. So then now you're sitting here consuming a whole bunch of toxic sugar, which is throwing off your pancreas. Now your pancreas is working overtime every single day, trying to balance your insulin resistance because you have insulin resistance now. And then after years of you doing all of this, you've developed high blood pressure, you develop diabetes, and now possible cancer. Or even worse, they're telling you that you can't have children and you have fibroids. And so they're sitting here telling you that you have to have a surgery. And so let's say that you do the surgery because you're like, I want to have kids, so let me remove this fibroid and maybe it'll help me give me the possibility of having children. And maybe you do during that time. And so you're fibroid free for a year or two, let's say that, if you even make it that far. But then after 2 years, now all of a sudden you're having the signs and the symptoms that we started in the beginning with again. And you're trying to figure out why now you're so bloated and it looks worse than what it did before. You're trying to pinpoint it. Well, I have been doing diets. Maybe I've been eating too much fried food, so I'm going to cut this out. But nothing is working. You've been trying this, and now it's time for your regular visit every single year. You go back to the doctor. You're telling them, I'm bloated. I'm not feeling right. I don't know. And then they do another round of, okay, let's check it out. You get some type of checkup when it comes to your reproductive system. And now they're telling you the fibroid is back. Because you know why? You didn't deal with the root cause. A lot of women don't realize this. You're told to get the surgery, but what they don't tell you is the fact that when you get this surgery, it does not guarantee that it's not going to grow back. Not only does it not guarantee that it's not going to grow back, it's more likely to grow back than not. So you're sitting here dealing with the issue by doing a momentary band-aid, but you're not putting two and two together of the fact that you're not healing the problem. You removed it, but you didn't heal it. And so that's the reason why it grew back. And so maybe you had one at first, but then when they grow back, now you have 2, 3, 4. And it's worse and it's bigger and you're looking pregnant even though you're not pregnant. That's what's happening to women right now. And the reason why is because we're not diving deeper into not only what's on our plate, but what's in our products. We see bleach, Lysol, Clorox wipes programmed on TV, and all you think of, instead of thinking those are chemicals that I need to avoid and they shouldn't be in your home, all you sit there and see, and you're like, ooh, I need to get some more Clorox wipes so that way I can easily wipe down my counters. Y'all do realize that when advertising in general became a really popular thing on TV, and when they started promoting these chemicals, these products, they were telling you not only are these harmful for your body, if you really go look at old commercials, they're using gloves. Some of them even have masks on. They have full, basic hazmat things in their home to use for these products. And what are we doing now in society? Because it's been made so common and so common to the point where we don't even see these as dangerous chemicals anymore. You're in your bathroom cleaning, no gloves, no mask, the door is closed. You ain't even got no ventilation. It has been made so common to be in a chemically imbalanced space that we don't even realize how harmful it is. We don't even realize what's really happening. And these are endocrine disruptors. You're literally breathing in endocrine disruptors when you open a bottle of bleach. You're literally breathing in endocrine disruptors when you're spraying Lysol all over the air. I don't know if y'all know this, but I did a video on this probably a couple of years ago, and I need to go back so I can bring it back up along the timeline for the people. Y'all do realize that Lysol used to be marketed as a feminine spray, a hygiene spray? They were marketing it as a feminine hygiene spray when they first came out, but then they realized that this is causing women to have reproductive issues and causing cancer. So what did they do? They were like, oh, we can't sell this to women as a feminine hygiene spray anymore. So what we're going to do? Spray it in your homes. Spray it in your air because it smells good. regardless of what it's doing to your body and how it's causing cancer, at least it smells good. They marketed it as a feminine hygiene spray, and so they were giving women cancer. Think about, relay it to the same thing that has happened with baby powder. Baby powder is a known cancer-causing product, and yet people are still arguing about how they have to have baby powder and use baby powder to smell good. When not only are there non-toxic products that you can smell good with, but I'm 99.9% sure there are non-commercialized baby powder products that are not terribly toxic for your body and your skin. There are many different ways for you to make non-toxic products. There are many different sites that you can buy non-toxic products from. But instead, we're so heavily trained into going to Walmart, going to Publix, going to Costco, and buying up the biggest bulk of chemical products we possibly can and poisoning ourselves because it's at a reasonable price. Because let's be honest, if the chemicals were the same price as the natural products, which one are you going to buy? If they were easily accessible as the chemicals, which one would you buy? If you're sitting there and you see and you know that bleach causes cancer, but then you have this natural cleaning product right next to it on the shelf, you see the brand, you've recognized that you've been programmed into seeing it all your life, just as well as you've seen Clorox bleach all your life, which one are you going to pick up? The chemicals that poison you and cause endocrine disruptors, or the one that is natural and that is possible easily for you to make, but you don't feel like it today, so you can pick it up at the store? Because let's be honest, you're making that choice based on convenience. And y'all making these choices based on convenience has been doing that for years. And now we're seeing the repercussions of generation after generation that don't know how to take care of their body, doesn't understand how to sync with their cycle, so their hormones are off. Generation after generation, cancer is getting worse. They're finding teens and young adults are about to surpass adults when it comes to being diagnosed with insulin resistance and diabetes. They're seeing more children get diagnosed with insulin resistance and diabetes. And these are not things that are separate issues, because these are all tied together with your endocrine disruptors, with your cortisol dominance, with your nutrient deficiencies. They all tie together. Because when you have the terrible habits of restricting and calorie counting, but you're not giving yourself enough nutrients, you do realize that throws you into insulin resistance. When you're sitting here dealing with the issue that your body already can't filter the toxins that you expose yourself to on a day-to-day basis with your products, with the things you bathe yourself in, and then you sit here and you think that you can turn around and you can spray Lysol all over the air, perfume all over your skin that has terrible toxic ingredients, and you're going to be fine, you do realize this is an endocrine disruptor, and it's going to cause your cortisol to spike because you're putting your body in a toxic state. Your liver is toxic when it can't filter these toxins on a regular basis, and it can't. You're making your liver work 3 times what it's actually supposed to work. From you eat things and then you don't know what's in your things. You don't know how to read your labels. Thank you for the follows, guys. You don't know how to read your labels. You don't know what's in the food. You don't know what's in the products. So you're poisoning yourself with food and products right there. That's not even including outside things that you can't control. That's not even including when you walk into the hospital and you're breathing in all these chemicals if you're a nurse, because I work with a lot of nurses. That's not even including when you spray Lysol all over your home and you forget about it and you walk away, or you use your little plug-ins that are not natural, what are they called? Essential oils, but rather they're fragrances. Or your candles that are fragrances, usually made from some type of plastic or soy, which you're breathing that in once again, which is an endocrine disruptor. It's a toxin. So you're making your liver work way harder than it needs to every single day from detoxification. And that's outside of the things that you can't control. Because a lot of y'all are worried about the fact that they're spraying chemicals in our air. There's chemicals all over the place. But you're not even realizing that you consume chemicals every single day. And you can control that, because when you do control that, as someone like me who had allergies, who was dealing with the weight and fluctuation and imbalances, that was dealing with the cortisol and dominance, who was dealing with nutrient deficiency overall, endocrine disruptors, seeing the signs of all these things, I don't have to worry about walking outside during pollen season and it tearing me up like y'all do. It be tearing y'all's behinds up allergy season, flu season, whatever sickness season be tearing y'all up, and you be talking about how it's cold outside and oh, you don't feel good. But let's really wrap our brains around that, because if illness season is really because it's cold outside, how come that there is a sickness season during the summer as well, during the fall, during the spring? If it's only when it's cold outside and we call it flu season, how come you can get sick in every other season? And let's dive deeper into that as well. If you don't know, this is going to be a wide awakening for you, but also just like a realization moment. Sickness has only one way for it to live, and we know this. It has to have something to feed off of. That's the reason why when you use your bleach and your cleaning products like you think it's doing, it's killing off the germs, right? Because it has no way to thrive in that space. So how come it can thrive in your body? If you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, when they tell you in society, eat meat, eat dairy, it's okay to eat processed snacks sometimes, as long as you're getting your veggies and your fruits in minimal amounts, but it's enough. How come you can't fight off that illness without some type of prescription? How come you can't fight off that illness without you letting your body rest and reset? Because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing every single day. If you're a woman and you don't know the phases of your cycle, let alone how to eat for the phases of your cycle, you're going to get sick. You're going to have painful menstrual cycles. You're going to have heavy or irregular cycles. You're going to have issues with PMSing. And I think I said PMSing already, but you're going to have issues overall as your feminine essence as a woman. And that's because you're not synced with yourself. You don't understand your natural rhythm. And that's a part of your natural rhythm. You're misaligned with your routines because you have been pushed into the masculine hustle loop. Do this and make it to the next day. Feed your kids with this fast food. Go on this break and get fast food. Don't prepare for this because you have to be on your toes. But as women, as feminine women that we are the ones that sit back. We observe. We're patient. And I heard this a while ago, and I didn't understand it when I heard it, but I kind of like sat on it and I thought about it because I was like, man, I said, y'all always want somebody to be in their masculine, because I'm like, why in the world do you really want a woman to be a shooter? But really think about it. And I'm not gonna say pew pewer. I'm gonna say pew pewer because I don't know if they're gonna try to jump me on TikTok. But think about it. They say the best marksmen are women because we're patient. We know how to wait. Really sit there and think about that. We know how to sit back and wait. We know how to be patient. A lot of y'all do, and you are in the masculine heavy when it comes to do. But then when it comes to yourself, you're too heavy in the feminine, and all you're doing is sitting back. And this is categorized by society as laziness. But I don't categorize that as laziness. What I categorize it as is that you don't have a strategy. You don't have a plan. Because there's a key difference between laziness and lack of action because you have no direction. Because when you're not clear on an assignment, how are you going to take action? But when you're clear on an assignment and then you sit on it and you do nothing about it, that's laziness. But when you have no clear action, you have no clear direction, you have no clear teachings, you don't know where to go from there. That's like you sitting there telling a toddler who doesn't know how to go to the potty, take your diaper off and go to the potty. They don't know how to do that. They have no direction. They have no clarification of how to go to the potty as size in their diaper. So the reason why you're not thriving is because you're not sitting here in an authentic design of what your body is supposed to feel like, of going harder. You were designed to go deeper into educating yourself so that you can spread that knowledge to not only your family members, your future children, but also to raise next generation of women that know how to take care of their bodies before they start taking care of anybody else. Because you're taught at a very, very young age to, oh, here's your baby doll, take your baby doll, put a diaper on it, feed your baby, right? We're taught these things. Wash your baby, give it a bath. But you're not taught as soon as you start your cycle or you start to show signs of the fact that you are in puberty that you need to start eating this during this phase. You do understand that during this time you're insulin resistant, so you're gonna crave more sugar, but you shouldn't be craving sugar. You shouldn't be eating sugar. You should be using stabilizers. During this time, it's a great time for you to fast, not sit here and starve yourself. But if you don't feel hungry, that's because your body is telling you this is a great time, a great phase for you to fast at least 12 hours. But y'all don't know how to listen to your body, nor do you understand or know what the phases of your cycle are, because we aren't taught these things. You don't know what your body actually needs. And what your body is actually craving is a shift. It's craving for you to return to the rhythm so that you can reset your body on a cellular level. Because we know what insulin resistance is. Your body stops responding to the insulin, right? But you don't understand the fact that when you are in an insulin resistant state, it's because your cells can no longer recognize and understand what natural sugars are. So whether what you consume, natural or processed, your body is automatically going to try to filter it. That's when you become an insulin resistant person. When your cellular response to insulin is straight panic, it no longer can say, oh, I can use this and convert this. It says, we're built up with too much insulin already, and I try to expel it, but I can't because you're already putting more sugar in, and every single time you eat, you spike me. So all I can do is release, which causes chaos. And a lot of women have such a terrible relationship with food because we use food as a dopamine stimulation because we've had a hard day. And this is throwing off your chemical rhythm and putting you in a chaotic state. And it's causing you to build up toxins. And so if you are ready to not only release the toxins and help your body get back on a correct alignment and a correct strategy to do that for yourself, I am hosting a 4 weeks. I don't know where 7 day came from. I am hosting a 4-week cleanse. You can't sit here and just jump into okay, I'm going to eat this way for 7 days and I'm going to feel better after doing this and I'm going to restrict and I'm going to calorie count, I'm going to do keto and paleo and then expect everything to fix itself. So that's the reason why I created this 4-week cleanse. It's called a radiant reset because you are in the space of wanting this change for yourself. You want to release the toxin buildup. You're ready for a rhythm and a systematic system that is actually going to support your body in resetting. And you want to feel safe in the space that you are in your body. And you want to detoxify. But you were looking to do it in the correct space. Not some type of guessing game, but actually balance your blood sugar and rewire the relationship you have with food. And you can guide yourself into eating foods that nourish your body, fill your body, and make you feel comfortable when you eat. Not uncomfortable thinking that, oh, I'm not doing it right and I have to calorie count and restrict because if I eat too many calories, which yes, that is a problem, but you're sitting here thinking if I eat too many calories, I'm not going to be able to be a part of this diet and this diet's not going to work for me. A lot of y'all are not realizing that your body is so hungry, even at this calorie deficit that you're in, not because you are in this calorie counting deficit, but rather because all the food that you're eating is nutritionally dense. It has no nutritional value to it at all. And that nutritional density is so lacking to the point where your body is in survival mode. And how you know it is because y'all's cortisol is not high anymore, but rather your cortisol has hit the plateau of the bottom and it can't do anything else but try to survive every single day. That's why you wake up with no energy. That's the reason why you're having all this anxiety. That's the reason why depression is kicking your behind. And so it's not something that is difficult to fix when you have a simplified strategy. But it's not easy for you to wrap your brain around when you're sitting here in the oppression of the system that you are currently in. Because no matter what race you are, you're being oppressed by this system. You're being oppressed. And if you don't realize that you're being oppressed, look at how we are when it comes to our health, how bad health is getting, how bad everything is getting when it comes to the health industry, and how people are overweight, dealing with issues of some type of hormonal imbalance, dealing with all these different cancers in society. Because once again, if your body has nothing, if the illness has nothing to feed off of inside of your body, it cannot thrive in your space. So why is it thriving? Because you're feeding it. So what are you eating? What are you consuming? What are you using that it's feeding off of? Your skin absorbs anything that you put in contact with it in 24 seconds. So what are you putting on your skin that is an endocrine disruptor? What are you breathing in that's an endocrine disruptor? What foods are you eating that are endocrine disruptors? What products do you use that you don't even know what the ingredients are? What foods are you consuming that you don't even know the ingredients of? When you're sitting here thinking that at the end of the day, as long as I'm eating because I need to be eating, and that's your mindset, I just want you to know that when that's your mindset, you're filling your body with toxins and you're not supporting yourself. It's not possible to be supported in the space of just unknowingly consuming. If you're still eating fast food, you are unknowingly consuming. Because I talked about this last time, but y'all don't even realize how many additives and fillers is in your food. Because if you sit there and think that you going and getting a salad is the healthy alternative and you're eating fast food, I hate to break it to you, even that salad has preservatives in it. I looked at McDonald's, and I was talking about this too because I made a video on it, I don't know how long ago, but I made a video on McDonald's and how when I was looking at McDonald's to see if there was anything on their menu that was kind of sort of passable, just to see, everything on their menu has some type of titanium dioxide or sodium phosphate, and that's just one ingredient. I listed out the ingredients for like a milkshake. I think a soda probably had about what a milkshake should have, probably about like 4 to 5 different ingredients depending on what flavor. That was the drink, a soda. I think like I looked up a Coke or a Pepsi or something like that. Burger, this big of ingredients. Fries, this big of ingredients. Everything is stacked up like a book, like a little mini paragraph. Your food shouldn't have a little mini paragraph attached unless you can look down it and you can read it. Every single thing on there is actual real food. Because I have seen some natural products that have quite a few ingredients in it, but when you look at it, it's because it has a plethora of actual nutritional value to it. When you look at that burger and you see that all it is a beef patty, some cheese, some lettuce, and some buns on it, and then you add some ketchup, don't piss me off, bro. Like the nutritional value is lacking. And you get this and you think that this is a meal. And don't even get me started when you're getting fried things like chicken sandwiches, chicken nuggets in general. There is no nutritional value in the food that they're giving you, whether it's fast food, whether it's restaurant food, and you don't even know where this food is sourced. If you think way back, if you were like conscious enough to really be aware of when McDonald's rebranded their chicken for 100% real beef, 100% real all natural white chicken, or whatever they try to say, I don't even think they say that anymore. I haven't seen a McDonald's commercial in a long time. You know why they started doing that? If you don't know why they started doing that, it's because they got in trouble. It was a low-key like lawsuit. They didn't get sued millions, and it was a big thing like Jack in the Box, how Jack in the Box went under and people stopped eating Jack in the Box because they found out that salmonella issue that they had and the kids were passing away. It wasn't that deep. Because you know why? Because all they were doing was just not selling you the meat that they were telling you they were selling. That's not that big of a deal, right? That's not that big of a deal. Whatever you're eating, whatever it was, whatever creature it was, whatever being it was, because I'm going to call it a being, it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, to me it is. But how I know it's not that big of a deal is because y'all still eating it. And that's not even just McDonald's. Burger King did it. Chick-fil-A is starting to slide into that category. They haven't hit there yet, far as we know, but they're starting to slide in there because you see how they kind of lessen their chicken quality by changing their chicken brand. They haven't said exactly anything crazy, but just wait. It's coming. Chipotle and all their issues that they've had. Think about all the different issues that these companies have had. And it's deeper than just oh, they didn't make my order right, I didn't like it, but it's okay because they gave my money back. They were selling you a foreign meat. I know what that meat was because I did research on it. They were selling you a foreign meat and y'all were eating it up. Because this wasn't too long ago. This was probably a decade ago. Eating it up. It happened multiple times since then too. That's the reason why they have to keep rebranding. Because if you look at like McDonald's, the history of McDonald's, Burger King, and all them, rebranding is on point. And you know why? Because they know y'all are going to keep eating because you're addicted. And you're so heavily addicted that you can't even see the signs of the addiction. I talked about this last time, but y'all are heavily addicted because what do you think about when you're thinking of a soda and you're thinking of a Sprite? What is the one place that you think of? Who has the best Sprite? McDonald's. Ooh, that Sprite's so strong, it hits something different. It's all that carbonation. You do realize that rewires your brain to make you addicted? You don't even get your thirst quenched when you drink soda. But you get so addicted that when you get thirsty, you crave a Sprite. And I know this because I used to do it too. I used to literally play sports and drink soda at the same time because I was like, oh, I really want a Sprite right now. And it wasn't because I needed the Sprite and I was craving a Sprite. It's because I was dehydrated. And the Sprite makes you addicted to it, crave more, and dehydrated more so that you drink more Sprite. That's the reason why you go to the restaurant and you can slurp down about 3-4 different Sprites and you're still thirsty. Same thing with all of these different places with the foods, because they add fillers, additives to make you addicted. And a lot of these are coloring agents, which they do color your insides, just like food dyes. Food dyes color your organs. So your liver is your detoxification. So you're eating that blue dye, that yellow dye, that red dye, and it's not it's not bothering you, right? Because you've been eating it for all of your life, so it's not that big of a deal. But you're dyeing your kidneys, your liver, and everything else that color every single time that you eat it. And you're dyeing your insides, and it has to try to filter out that dye. It doesn't just go away in a day or two. It doesn't go away in a couple of weeks. You literally go through a process to try to get your organ undyed from the inside out. And that's what you're doing. Every time you're sitting here, well, I've eaten this red dye all my life. It ain't that big of a deal. But when you can see the evidence and the signs, the fact that red dye is that big of a deal, because look at what it's doing to these babies. So this is what I mean by you have to get into the space of making change. Being the change that you want to see. And it's bigger than you just saying you want to change, but actually making that conscious choice to say, you know what? I know that this place is poisoning me and I'm not going to keep spending my money here. Knowing that there's something deeper than just sitting here and hustling, but trusting yourself again and not waiting around for burnout to take you out, because burnout's going to take a lot of y'all out by 2030. They were so healthy. They were so young. They were only 30. How in the world did they pass? Flare-ups, sleepless nights, overloaded inflammation, dealing with anxiety and depression, dealing with a body that doesn't feel safe. It's going to take you out. We're going to see people unaliving earlier and earlier, more frequently, because the body is not broken. You're just not listening to it. And since you stopped listening to it, at some point the body is going to have to shut down something. And let it not be the most vital organ for you to be able to figure it out first. I hope. But why let it get to that point when you don't have to? Have a clear destination. Have a light inside of you that guides you. Because the Most High guided me into the space that I'm in, being fully connected into my body and being in the power of what my body can do and how it can help itself. But you have to understand that if you can break a bone and it can heal, why in the world can your teeth not remineralize itself according to society? How come people can literally heal themselves from cancer without doing chemo and all they have to do is eat fruits and vegetables, yet you depend on meat and dairy every single day to get your vitamins and nutrients and for your bones to be strong? So if you are looking for something else, it's not just a quick, fast diet culture, but actually an understanding and diving deeper into how you are in the life-changing space of learning how to support your body and use food as your medicine. That Radiant Reset is at $111 for the rest of July. After July, it always goes up to $247. That's the normal price. You can get it with Klarna Affirmer Afterpay. This is going to be a 4-week cleansing detox intensive, because it's really diving deeper into all the information that I am giving you and really honing in on what I can't say on TikTok. But just keeping you away from this burnout that is happening, because we are in the space where we are burnt out. Women are burnt out. Men are burnt out. We're overworked, overburdened, and not supported. Not only with our own habits, but with society. So why keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result? Because all you're doing is leading yourself down a path of developing cancer. All you're doing is leading yourself down a path of developing some type of chronic disease, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, fibroids, cysts. That's the path that you are leading yourself down by having these hormonal imbalances and doing nothing about it, or not knowing anything to do about it, and then finding a solution, having the solution, and then sitting on it. Because sitting on it, waiting, and not taking action, what has it gotten? Cancer. The babies are getting diabetes. The babies. And I know this isn't something new, but the point is that now they're seeing, I think it was like a 17 to 20% increase in younger, in teens specifically. And it's only getting worse because we're not changing anything. They even said it on the, I think National Health Week. I think that's what they were saying, because it wasn't Women's Health Week, but I think Health Week in general. They even put a statement out that said, we cannot help people with this crisis that we're having with insulin resistance. It was Diabetes Week. That's what it was, Diabetes Month. They said they can't help people with the crisis that we're having when it comes to people's blood sugar and diabetes, because that's something that you have to address in your home. So if they know that this is something that they can't do anything about because it's something that you have to address in your home, when are we going to start addressing it in our home? Because it's just like prohibition when you think about it. People wanted their alcohol. So what did they do? They rioted. They acted a fool over their alcohol. Thank you guys for the likes. I really appreciate it. And so do you think if they took all the sugar off the shelves and told you the only thing you can have is natural sugar, you got to figure it out, do you think there'll be riots? Because I think there'll be riots, just like prohibition. So that's what they mean by they can't help you. This is a problem inside of your home. I do agree with them on that. There's a lot of things they could help you with, preventing the thing in general in the first place, but it's facts. Y'all were acting a fool, or not y'all, but they were acting a fool about prohibition. Could you only imagine if they took all the sugar off the shelves? No warning, like next day, all the sugar gone. The riots, the complaints, the tears, the people running through the streets acting a fool, the people who are harboring sugar. Could you only imagine when there's natural sugar everywhere, not just in fruits? There's cane sugar, there's molasses, like there's so many different natural sugars. And the molasses derived from cane sugar. I mean cane or beets, not the molasses that's derived from the processed sugar, the actual natural molasses. Maple syrup. But people will be rioting because they can't go to the grocery store and go get that white sugar that they get off the shelves, that granulated sugar. They'd be crying because they can't get their Oreos. Crying because they can't go to Baskin Robbins anymore. Crying because now all of a sudden they can't go to Crumble Cookie anymore. Riots. So think about that. It's just like prohibition. They can't do anything about it. All they can do is slap a warning label, and they're not even putting a warning label on sugar. You know how I know? It's because they know it causes diabetes. They know the fact that sugar causes you to become overweight when you consume too much processed sugar. Processed sugar stores inside of your body like a toxin. And so then you're eventually going to lead yourself to being overweight. And then over time of you being overweight and not dealing with it, now all of a sudden you develop diabetes. So you can't tell me it's not related to the sugar. It's not directly only from sugar, but you can't tell me the sugar is not causing diabetes when you literally are going down the path of developing diabetes by consuming too much sugar. And society consumes too much sugar. So if you are ready to help your body get into the sacred reset and get into the introduction of what your body is supposed to feel like so that you know what home feels like internally and not feeling in fight or flight mode every single day, the Radiant Reset is linked in my bio. You can check that out. Like I said, it is $111 until the end of July. You can get it with Klarna Firma Afterpay. It is a 4-week cleanse that I'm going to be helping you be able to get into the physical space and the energetic space, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on what you're supposed to be doing to support the body on the inside out. Soul recalibration. And if you want that deeper understanding and you want to learn how to cycle sync, make your own non-toxic products, make your own natural food, not natural food, but plant-based foods, and heal from any issues that you're having, because during that program it is tailored to you, your lifestyle, and what you have going on. I do have my Balanced Body program. That program is going to support you. It is with Klarna Firma Afterpay. Again, it is at $9.97 for the next 2 people, because I already had one lady who was in there, secured her spot. It has only 2 more spots at $9.97. After that, it's going up. But it's going to help you be able to get that balance and live that sustainable plant-based lifestyle that people are looking for and trying to find the solution in diet culture. And it's never going to work. My client that I worked with over these past 6 weeks, because we are now ending this week, these past 6 weeks, she, within the first 3 days, we had a masterclass that Monday. By Wednesday, I think, Wednesday night, she was sending me a message letting me know how much better she felt. She woke up with energy. She felt radiant. And how she not only felt was showing. She had a coworker look at her and say, "You're eating more and you look better today. What are you doing?" She was talking about how beforehand her coworker had talked to her and was telling her how she doesn't eat a lot. She doesn't understand how she's gaining weight still. She doesn't understand for how little she used to be and how little she eats, how she has all the weight that she has now. That was in 3 days of working with me, because it is an energetic issue first, and then it's a physical action. And that's all we did that first week, was work on energetics within 3 days. Less than 3 days, really, if you want to calculate it by the hour, but I counted 3 days by the day. She had gotten already not only a result in herself, but people were seeing it. And that's what I told her, and I tell every woman that comes and works with me. You don't have to say anything about you being in the program, you doing a change. You don't have to say a single thing. People feel it. Because it happens. Because you're actually aligning to your energetics of what your body's supposed to feel like. That program is so powerful. That's why that price is that price, and it will not change. Because you need the strategy. Because if it was possible for you to do it right here, right now, in the space that you were in, you would have already done it. But you haven't, and it hasn't worked for you. Doing diet culture, doing the momentary band-aids, sitting here thinking that you can do a surgery that it's going to fix everything, because it's not. How you start is getting mental right first, then taking that action. So if you guys have any questions, drop your questions down. You can feel it and see the difference when you make changes. And it's small little changes. I never throw any woman into my program just saying, here's all the information, there you go. I try to make it as simplified as possible. And I asked her every single time we had a meeting, every single time I sent something, let me know if this is too much or you don't understand. All responses, this is great. It's impactful information. I'm using this tonight. She had started making her plant-based foods. She had tried plant-based bacon. She had tried actually starting to prep things for herself. I am not a prepping person, but she is a nurse. She had to start bringing her meals so she wouldn't eat the food that was at work, because that was a conversation that she had, staying on her mark, missing her mark. And I said, you never miss the mark. At the end of the day, every day is a reset. And this is a little freebie that I'm giving you, because it's in my Living Intentionally, Flowing Energetically masterclass. That's the masterclass that I had with her on that Monday. You can buy that. It is available for you. It's linked in my bio. And I'm doing a discount right now, or not a discount, but I'm doing a special, a bundle, where if you get that masterclass, you also get a one-on-one with me afterwards. That is bundled in with that price. So go check that out if that's something that you're interested in. But literally, I say this in the class. When you are sitting here and you feel like you missed your mark, or you had a rough day, you didn't miss your mark. Yes, you had a momentary lapse, you had a slip, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you're on your plant-based journey and you're no longer plant-based, and now you're a meat eater, you're a carnivore, and you've done terribly. That just means that you had a slip up. And that's okay. We're not like we're, in rehab where we have a relapse because they mark how many days you do it until you have a relapse and then you have to start all over. No. You don't start over. You're still on your journey. You're still in the middle of your mission. Oops. In an hour, move on. Acknowledge what happened. Make a strategy. Make a plan. It's not going to happen again. And if it does happen again, new day, new issue. But during that program, we set you up so that not only do you already have a plan in place and a strategy, so when these stumbling blocks happen, you don't feel like a failure, but you also understand the space of you're learning, you're changing. It's not going to happen in a day or two. It's not going to happen in a week or two. But by the end of the program, you sustain what we've developed. You sustain the habits that you have incorporated. That's the key. So any questions for me? If not, I am going to hop off. My dog is over here making a whole bunch of noises. Any questions? I must have spilled some water. I'm like, there's water dripping. I appreciate you guys for all the likes. Thank you guys for the comments. I do, but that is after you use food as your medicine first, Angel. I never recommend anybody using herbs until they are actually eating correctly, because you have to think about it the same way that you take a prescription. When you're taking a prescription and you don't change what caused the issue that you're having, what is it going to do? Manage. And so that's the same thing that happens with herbs. Even though herbs are healing, you still have to understand that if you have fibroids, so you're taking herbs because you have developed a fibroid, you're not going to get rid of the fibroid by taking the herbs, because you're still going to be doing the habit that has caused the fibroid. So you have to understand, what has caused my fibroid? What has caused my hormonal imbalance? How have I put myself in this space, heal that issue, change the habits, and then we can talk about herbs if it didn't fix it. But majority of the time, it does fix majority of the problems that you have. So, because I was iron deficient before I went plant-based, I thought I was going to start taking herbs first. I was like, oh, herbs are going to be the way. Brought a whole bunch of herbs, right? But they never help. But they don't help the way that you think that they're going to help, because you're not changing the habits that led you here first. So you have to establish that habit change, those small little changes which lead to the lifestyle changes, which are big, so that you can see, okay, I'm lacking in this space, now I can add in this herb. And then doing a cleanse and then not doing anything about it afterwards, you're going to go back to the same thing, like diet culture. So this is what I teach. This is why I teach sustainability, how we keep it going, how we keep encouraging our body to feel good and to feel safe. Because when you do the, oh, I'm going to feel this way, I'm going to count calories, and I look great now, and then you flop back, your body can't trust you because you're going to keep doing this. If that makes sense. Any more questions for me, guys? I hope that makes sense. My dog is being so extra right now. Goodness gracious. I acknowledged her once, and now she's all up in my face. Any questions before I hop off? I gotta go to the store after this really quickly and go grab some things. I'm glad that makes sense. Okay. This will be posted on YouTube afterwards if anybody has missed this live and wants to catch the full live. And if you are on YouTube and you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comments. I answer questions. If you are wanting to know more about the program, or if a link doesn't work, please DM me. If you want to know more about this 111 cleanse before the end of July, because we are coming up to the last final countdown of the month. Like I said, after July, it will no longer be at 111. It's going back up to 247. Or if you're trying to get the life masterclass at Living Intentionally, Flowing Energetically, it is also linked in my bio. You can grab that. That bundle is also lasting until the end of July. After that, that bundle will no longer be there. You can only get the masterclass at that point. I have plenty of videos. If you go on YouTube or TikTok and scroll, I have plenty of videos of foods, different things like that, talking about that. All of that is posted. I do on YouTube have a playlist of eating with me just talking, making meals, and telling you about different things, plant-based foods in general. So all of that will support you. I do believe my YouTube will probably support you more than anything, because TikTok is just like you gotta scroll a lot. I have like plant-based cheese, I think, pinned, but I don't know if I have any other recipes pinned. I think that's it, just the plant-based cheese or mac and cheese, either which one, it's something. But my YouTube will help you with all of that. So I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'm going to head to the store. I know it's probably going to be super blazing hot outside, but that's okay. We'll make it. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope this has impacted you positively. Like I said, if you have any questions, drop them down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I don't know if we'll be back anytime the rest of this week. We'll probably be back on Sunday. If not Sunday, we'll be back on Monday if the Most High allows it. And I hope y'all have a great weekend. Peace, y'all. If I don't